baptised children in their enrolment policy. Please welcome Rupesh and Eva to the stage. Welcome, folks. Eva, is this way past your bedtime? Yeah? It's good fun getting past your bedtime, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you go trick-or-treating for Halloween? No?
No.
Did you dress up?
Yeah.
Who did you dress up as?
Aurora.
Aurora. Cool. I have no idea who Aurora is.
She's cool.
Is she? Very good. We had Batman in our house. But we were talking a little bit earlier on that this is a frightening moment in any parent's life where you assume that your child's going to go to the school across the road. And then you knock on the door, you say, here, my kid, it's time to go. And they're like, no, you can't come in. It's a moment of terror in any parent's life.
It's like a shock, because you live in such a modern country where you will not even think of this. I've been living in Ireland for now 7 years, and I've lived in Kilkenny, I've lived in Waterford, Limerick. I've never experienced this kind of thing where you go to a school and where you're told that, oh, is your child baptized to get enrollment into school? I mean, why don't you baptize the child? Now, it is like shocking, you think of, you are in a place where most of the schools are owned and run by Catholics, by the public funded money. And you feel terrified. Where will you go? You're a Hindu. I'm a Hindu by religion. So, and you know that the schools are Catholic. So where will you take your child when this kind of replies you get from the school?
Yeah. I'd say, Paul, you're hearing more and more stories like this.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is that whether you're Hindu, Catholic, Protestant, atheist, or other, you pay the same taxes. The taxes fund the schools. On what basis does our state discriminate on and exclude children on the basis of the religion of their family background? This is something fundamentally anti-democratic and completely unacceptable.
Can I ask, what happens when you make that case to the Department of Education? You say, oh yeah, you're right, but we're not going to make any changes to this.
Well, okay, that's a long story, but I mean, the Educate Together has been working this particular space for the last 30 years, and it's been extraordinarily difficult. We're now at the stage where we have 77 primary schools and 4 secondary schools, but we could open 25 more schools easily this year if we had the resources and the state really took this issue of equality in education seriously. And that's the real challenge that we have at the moment. I mean, here we are, 2015. We think that in the next 15 years, we can build a national network of equality-based schools in which every family in Ireland will have access to a school in which their child is guaranteed equality of esteem, irrespective of their background. But to do that, we need a really properly funded government programme and a real commitment from our political system for that change. We think that the tide of change in Ireland is moving in this direction. We're the first state in the whole world to pass marriage equality through referendum. We can do this. We can really make a difference, and we can make an education system which really respects the equal status of all families in our country, if we really put our shoulders to the wheel.
We're really going to talk in some detail about the marriage referendum a little bit later on, but I do think that it's important that the lessons that happened in that campaign are learned and applied. And it was the personal story of individuals that helped carry the day in that. And I think that for you to go public and to decide, you know what, I am going to tell everybody my story, that's not an easy decision to make, because with it comes pressure, and with it comes attention, and you don't really know necessarily how that's going to go. So how has the story worked out for you? What is the latest situation?
It was, initially, first of all, my first intention was to get her into the school. And I kept quiet for a few months, and then later on I decided, because my family had suffered a lot. We were in the verge of leaving Ireland, why are we here? When you are discriminated in a modern country, why don't we leave? And then I said, no, I'll fight for it. I have suffered, and I don't want the other families, the next generation who's coming, I don't want them to suffer the same way that we have. It was like a horrible few days, we could not sleep. It was really saddening. So that's the day I decided, no, I will fight. My daughter has suffered, my family has suffered, I don't want the next generation to suffer the same. So it went from that, and that gave me energy, and my wife was very supportive enough to, okay, go ahead. And that was the day I decided, and I have organized a protest march also on 25th of October, which was a huge success. I believe that was the first protest march ever in Ireland against education discrimination and equality.
People will have seen the walkforeva.com,
Yes.
the hashtag walkforeva. Tell us about this.
It is not a protest march, but it's just a walk up to the C6 office, which will be on 5th of November at 6 o'clock. So I request you all, whomsoever can come, just walk in and we'll just go and say hello to C6, and we have a small tract, we'll present it to them, and we'll ask them to support equality in education, bring equality in education. Every child in this country, not even in this country, in the world, they have the basic right for education. It is equality in education. They should not be discriminated on the basis of the religion or color.
Did you get school free?
Yeah.
You did find school.
Eva is finally in school here. And that school is roughly 6 kilometers away, and it is like, I can't work full time now, because you need a person dedicated to her, to drop her into the school, bring her back. That takes roughly, in the peak time, it takes up to half an hour one way. So it's basically your half day is gone in that.
Do you like school?
Yeah.
What's your favourite part?
That.
That's the biggest.
Ballet.
Ballet. Is that the biggest TV you've ever been in? It's cool, isn't it? Paul, if people are out there and they're feeling a little bit, hopefully not just interested but want to do something, what is the best way to actually get involved and to help a grassroots campaign and to put pressure on TVs?
Well, I think we're running up to one of the most interesting general election campaigns in recent history, in which there's going to be a lot of change. And I think it's really important that this question of cherishing all the children of the nation equally comes to the fore. That's next spring we're celebrating the 100th anniversary of the 1916 proclamation, and those words are in it. We're not cherishing the children of the nation equally currently, and that is a noble, a really realisable objective, which I think our democratic state should sign up to and really make happen. Where we think this has to happen is we have to build a national network of equality-based schools. It's not a question of denying people the right to send their children to a faith-based school if they want. But the fact is, without real choice, that isn't a choice. If people are compelled to send their children against their conscience and against their lawful preference to a local school, which is Catholic, that is not them choosing to send their children to a faith-based school. So there has to be a national network which is available to all families. We think in the next 15 years that's about 300 primary schools. Ireland is a small state compared to the other states. This is a really realisable objective, but it needs a concerted, agreed political drive to make this a reality. And I suppose that the argument I would make really strongly, Ireland is a depopulated country. We're sitting here at the RDS 200 years ago. The population of Ireland would have been 8.5 million people. We're barely 5 million people today. No other place in Europe has suffered such an absolute decline of population during that period. Most countries have either quadrupled or quintupled their population in that period. England, for example, England and Wales were 12 million in 1800. They're over 60 million now. So Ireland has huge potential for growth and development, both economically, socially. We have a huge cultural advantage in the world, in the sense that we're not an imperialist country. Our culture has not been a culture which has had to justify colonizing other countries. This gives us a special place to build a really advanced, modern education system, and our people are the core resource. So we have to address this. Human rights deficit, right in the core of our education system once and for all.
I think everybody can get behind that. And just to remind you, it's on the 5th of November.
5th of November, 6 o'clock, we'll walk up to Taoiseach's office in Marion Street.
Well, listen,
Please do join us and support.
check out the website. I know there's a Facebook page as well, and the hashtag is Walk for Eva. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Rowe, Rupesh Kumar Paniker, and of course Eva.